It's the opening of the winter season. Basketball's here. Quincy is in town, and Darlene Bailey is our guest here to kind of update us on athletics as we make the transition from fall to winter. Seems like conference season got here awful fast for basketball.
Conference season did get here awfully fast for basketball. We have our Monday staff meeting right after Thanksgiving. It's like, oh, conference basketball has started, and here we go with Quincy and Truman this weekend. But it's an exciting time. You know, our men's and women's basketball teams have both been on the road the last few days and have had good starts, and so we're anxious to see how they're going to stack up with conference play. And should be a lot of excitement tonight. Students around. We've got Santa a little earlier this year than we usually do, but we wanted the students to have the opportunity to come and visit with Santa, not only our community, but it's a great community engagement activity for us. A lot of faculty and staff bring their kids, and the word gets out, and so we have some grandparents bringing their grandchildren, and so just kind of a fun night. And we will have a basketball game along the way.
There is one going on. It seems to be kind of a popular thing, that Santa Claus. This is the third year maybe we've done it?
Yes, and we have some great help with our Santa, who is returned to us every year and is very, very nice to help us out and make his appearance as a representative of Santa. We all know that Santa can't be everywhere, so he sends his elves out, and we have a very wonderful elf who helps us.
We do, and it's Santa Claus. We can't.
Yes.
Let's talk about a little bit what's going on more generally in athletics, especially with the new president. Dr. Elizabeth McLeod-Walls took over this summer, and what's the newness, I guess, about having her around?
Sure. Well, she's doing a wonderful job, and she has a lot of energy right now, which is what you expect out of someone new taking on a new job, trying to get out and meet everyone and to learn as much as possible about Jewel, not just what she's read before she took the job and during the interview process, but as she calls it, taking deeper dives into the campus. She's been on listening tours for all of the departments. She's been to the athletic department, and then again, the deeper dive is having individual meetings with each of our head coaches, which I've had the opportunity to sit in on those, and that's been really a wonderful thing. You know, coaches love to talk about their work, and they are so passionate about what they do, and having her hear that from them directly rather than only through me really brings it home to her about what we're all about, where the students that the coaches are so passionate about, and their athletic achievements and their academic achievements, and that's been really good. We also were undertaking a broader project for the college as a whole, looking at who we are as an institution, and what are the good things about Jewel, what are the things that are good about Jewel that maybe not everyone knows about, and we're not doing as good a job as we want to highlight. And that's called the brand mission work, and that's an ongoing project this fall, which I think is going to really yield some great things in terms of reintroducing ourselves to Kansas City, making sure that the surrounding community, Liberty and the surrounding communities, are reminded that Jewel is right here. Jewel's always been here, but maybe a reintroduction of some of the great things about Jewel and the institution that we are.
How does athletics fit into that?
Well, athletics fits into that in a big way. 40% of Jewel students are student athletes. Yeah. 1 in every 10 Jewel students is a football player. So when you talk about those statistics, that usually gets at the attention of someone's knowing that, wow, athletics is a big deal. And Dr. McLeod-Walls and I spend our time, I meet with her once a week for an hour, and we spend our time certainly talking about the issues of the day and the tactical, but also the deeper issues in terms of how does athletics fit into the college as a whole. And she's taken a really keen interest in that and asked a lot of questions about our vision for athletics. Why Division II? Why? Sure. What does that mean for us on a daily basis? And so athletics is a big part of this. And as we move forward with looking at some of our needs and aspirations to become better, whether it's improving facilities, improving our ability to recruit the very best Division II student athletes, she's very interested in learning just what that means and what that's all about. So we're doing a lot of talking about, the GLVC and other institutions in the GLVC, what sports are strong for us within the GLVC, what sports maybe we need a little work, and that kind of thing. And so that's a nice complement to the deep dives that she's been doing individually with coaches. And as we talk about that on a broader level with the cabinet and the board of trustees, certainly there's not a lot of discussion that occurs without athletics being brought up.
You mentioned recruiting, but I think people find it maybe a little strange to remember that we have graduation in the middle of the year too, and that affects our athletic department.
Absolutely. I talk to the students a lot, but in groups I talk to them once or twice a year, and I always tell them that the most gratifying thing for me is May in the Mabee Center, but also December in Gano Chapel when our students graduate. There's a process. They come to us as an unfinished product, and we want to help them mold their way athletically, academically, and otherwise to become the best they can be while they're at Jewel. And graduation is an important milestone. And if that doesn't happen, we have not done our job. Fortunately, our students do graduate at a very good level, and there are 30-some graduates overall at semester. I heard that number yesterday, and I would guess that over 40% of those are student athletes. I know just off the top of my head we have several football players who finished their 5th season, and we've got a few other student athletes who are graduating at semester. And Gano Chapel's kind of fun in December because it is a smaller group. I tend to know most of them one way or another, and so it's a different kind of graduation, but it's very meaningful for the students, and I really enjoy it as well.
Transitions, fall to winter, winter to spring, and right now we've got some of the spring sports that are going on, indoor track and field, for instance, but swimming kind of goes across several seasons, but we're in basketball, swimming is going on, track and field has an indoor meet, very busy time.
It is, and fall sports are just freshly finished, and so we're putting things away from the fall and making the transition, and so the Mabee Center is a very busy place. Now we've been blessed with great weather, so we haven't had a lot of days when everybody's inside, but basketball is underway, as we've talked about. Swimming has a home meet on Sunday, and so that's always fun to be able to have them at home. They're on the road quite a bit of the time, and Mark Gohl has just done a wonderful job with that program. This is our 6th year, I think, of swimming, and that's a program that we started after I came back as athletic director, and Mark he's a machine. He's so passionate, and every time I talk to him about what's going on, I just feel inspired because he works so hard every day to make each swimmer get better. At whatever level they start at, he works with them to get them better, whether they're our all-conference performers or maybe striving to be that. And so I am so proud of what he does in the pool and on the deck, and he's an amazing recruiter, and just the passion that he exudes is really representative of all of our sports, but the individual sports, sometimes that passion is just much more evident on a daily basis.
Tom Eisenhower has left the track and cross-country coaching for the most part to become now your associate athletic director, and how has that affected the program?
Well, we've been blessed. I've had 2 wonderful associate athletic directors since I've been here, Joel Lucan and Lucas Morgan, who've gone on to become athletic directors at other institutions. I've told Tom that he can't do that quite yet because I'm not finished with him. But Tom was actually my first hire. I hired him sort of before I got here in terms of official start date, but Tom started officially as the full-time head track coach on July 1st of 2009, the same day I did. And so he spent 7 years as heading up our track and field program, and he and I had conversations along the way that there might be a day that he would be interested in going to administration. We weren't sure what that day was going to be, but at the point that Lucas Morgan made his decision to move on, Tom and I had that conversation again, and he said, I think I'd like to do this. And so we went through the process, and he was named our associate athletic director, I want to say sometime in August or September, I can't remember. And the transition has been good. It's never easy. It's not when you're making a transition internally, because you're leaving other positions vacant for a period of time, and so that has been fine. And when I say not easy, it's just a little clunky sometimes because he still did coach the cross country team in the fall. He was very committed to doing that, and I was very supportive of that because you don't want to just leave those athletes. So he continued to coach cross country, coach assistant coach Bart Mestelle has filled in on an interim basis since Tom moved to the associate athletic director role, and we are very close to being able to make an announcement. Possibly by the time that this airs, we will be naming Bart Mestelle as our permanent head coach.
Okay.
And I'm very excited about that. He's done a wonderful job this fall with our program. The student athletes have responded to him well, and we made a great choice as an assistant coach a year ago when we hired him. I know he wasn't expecting to be thrust in this role quite so quickly, but I think he's going to be wonderful. He understands Jewel, he understands recruiting to a place like ours, and he's very excited about taking the reins of the program on his own, and then being able to hire an assistant coach that can then help him. And that's one of the things that's been hard this fall, because he's been kind of running the program by himself with a little bit of help from Tom, and I've been pulling Tom over to do administrative things. So we make it all work, and we have a wonderful staff of folks that are just willing to jump in and say, what can I do to help? Oh, can you handle this because somebody can't be here? And so we're lean and mean, which is a cliche that you hear a lot, but we just have folks that love Jewel, love being here, and are willing to do whatever it takes, whether it's get in the van and go pick up the basketball team at the airport or whatever we need to do. So I'm pleased with that. So Tom is going to be great in his administrative role. I think he's enjoying it. But I think that now that he can hand off track pretty much completely, that's going to allow him to settle in even better.
All right. That's a lot of things we covered. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And the best of the holidays to you.
Go Cardinals.
Go Cardinals. We'll be back with more in a moment on the HyVee Halftime Report.